First topic, electability. First question to Governor Perry from Texas. Welcome, Governor.
Good to be with you.
You were in charge of the 12th largest economy in the world, and you recently said that 4 years ago you weren't ready for this job. Why should someone vote for you now?
After those 4 years of looking back and being prepared, the preparation to be the most powerful individual in the world requires an extraordinary amount of work. Not just having been the governor of the 12th largest economy in the world, which I might add, we added 1.5 million jobs during that period of time. Over that 2007 through 2014 period, a period when America was going through the most deep recession it had been through since the Great Depression. I think Americans want someone that have a track record of showing them how to get this country back on record. Some of them want to stand up and every day project that best days of America in front of us. And I will assure you, as the governor of the state of Texas, and as those last 4 years have showed me, the preparation to be ready to stand on this stage and talk about those monetary policies, those domestic policies, and those foreign policies, Americans are going to see that I'm ready to be that individual.
Thank you, Governor.
All right, everybody, now to the elephant that is not in the room tonight, Donald Trump. Let's take a look at this graphic that shows the huge amount of political chatter that he is driving on Facebook right now. Some of it good, probably, some of it bad. But he is dominating this conversation. Governor Perry, you two have been going at it. But given the large disparity in your poll numbers, he seems to be getting the better of you.
Well, when you look at the celebrity of Donald Trump, then I think that says a lot about it. One thing I like to remind people is back in 2007, Rudy Giuliani was leading the polls for almost a year. I'll suggest a part of that was his celebrity. Fred Thompson was the other one, a man who had spent a lot of time on that screen. I've had my issues with Donald Trump. I talked about Donald Trump from the standpoint of being an individual who was using his celebrity rather than his conservatism. How can you run for the Republican nomination and be for single-payer health care? I mean, I ask that with all due respect, and nobody on either one of these stages has done more than I've done and the people of the state of Texas to deal with securing that border. We sent our Texas Ranger recon teams. We sent our Parks and Wildlife wardens. I deployed the National Guard. After I stood on the ramp in Dallas, Texas, and looked the President of the United States in the eye and said, Mr. President, if you won't secure the border, Texas will. And that's exactly what we did. We need a president that doesn't just talk a game, but a president that's got real results.
Governor Perry, try and answer this question again. What do you say to the family of illegals? Are you going to break them apart?
Bill, here's the interesting position on this. Americans are tired of hearing this debate want to go to what are you going to do about illegal immigration. For 30 years, this country has been baited with that. All the way back to when Ronald Reagan signed a piece of legislation that basically allowed for amnesty for over 4 million people, and the border's still not secure. The American people are never going to trust Washington, D.C., and for good reason. We hear all this discussion about, well, I would do this or I would do that, when the fact is the border is still porous. Until we have a president of the United States that gets up every day and goes to the Oval Office with the intent purpose of securing that border. And there's not anybody on either one of these stages that has the experience of dealing with this as I have for over 14 years with that 1,200-mile border. We have to put the personnel on that border in the right places. You have to put the strategic fencing in place. And you have to have aviation assets that fly all the way from Tijuana to El Paso to Brownsville, Texas, 1,933 miles, looking down 24/7 with the technology to be able to identify what individuals are doing and ID when they are in obviously illegal activities or suspicious activities, and quick response teams that come at that particular point in time. Then Americans will believe that Washington is up to a conversation to deal with the millions of people that are here illegally, but not until, if you elect me President of the United States, I will secure that southern border.
Governor Perry, here's a question for you. Critics of the Iran deal say that it puts America on the same side as the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, of Hamas, of Hezbollah, of the backers of those groups, and of people who chant death to America in the street, that this deal puts us on that side of the equation. But our traditional Middle East allies, led by Saudi Arabia, have also funneled support to Islamic radical groups who want to kill Americans. So which side do you believe we should be on?
We need to be on the side that keeps Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That's the side we need to be on, and that's the side of the bulk of the Middle East. And we need to have some coalitions in that part of the world to go after ISIS, but we also need to send a clear message. And hopefully, you know, Senator Graham, I know where he's going to be on this, but we use Congress, and we use Congress to cut this funding. One of the great challenges that we have, $150 billion is fixing to go to a country that killed our Marines in Lebanon, that used their weapons to kill our young men in Iran. And the idea that this negotiation, I will tell you one thing, I would a whole lot rather had Carly Fiorina over there doing our negotiation than John Kerry. Maybe we would have gotten a deal where we didn't give everything away. But the issue for us is to have a Congress that stands up and says not only no, but hell no to this money going to a regime that is going to use it for terror. Susan Rice has said that, and we need to stand up and strongly and clearly tell the Ayatollah that whoever the next president of the United States is going to be, and I'll promise you, if it's me, the first thing that I will do is tear up that agreement with Iran.
Governor Perry.
It's going to be a pretty busy day, but that Iran negotiation is going to be torn up on day one, and we're going to start the process of securing that border. And I'm also going to take a bottle of white out with me to get started on all those executive orders that Mr. Obama has put his name to.
That will be a long day.
It will be a long day.
With Governor Perry.
Well, this is going to be a show me, don't tell me election. I think America's just a few good decisions and a leadership change at the top away from the best years we've ever had. And I think that the record of the governor of the last 14 years of the 12th largest economy in the world is just the medicine America's looking for. 1.5 million jobs created during the worst economic time this country's had since the Great Depression, while the rest of the country lost 400,000 jobs. We're talking about a state that moved graduation rates forward from 27th in the nation to second high. As a matter of fact, if you're Hispanic or African American in Texas, you have the #1 high school graduation rates in America. Americans are looking for somebody that's going to give them hope. And there is a place in this country over the last 8 years in particular that talked about hope every day, and they didn't just talk about it, they delivered it, and that was the state of Texas. And if we can do that in Texas, that 12th largest economy in the world, we can do it in America. Our best days are in front of us. We can reform those entitlements. We can change that corporate tax code and lower it. We can put America back on track on a growth level and a growth rate that we've never seen in the history of this country. Manufacturing will flow back into this country. It just needs a corporate executive type at the top that's done it before. And I will suggest to you, nobody's done it like Rick Perry's done it over the last 8 years. And if you elect me president, we will bring incredible growth back to this country. And as someone who's worn the uniform of the country, that's how we build our military back up.